Okay, take two. I'm going to tell you something you have to pretend that I haven't told you already
Okay.
because I wasn't recording your side of the conversation previously.
Okay.
So we already
Should I
went
start the way that I started before?
like going through all those jobs that you're not qualified for, implying that you're looking for new employment.
Home energy auditor, benefits specialist. Ooh, math coordinator and coach.
That's the problem with radio. It doesn't leave you qualified for anything else.
Right.
There are no transferable skills when it comes to radio.
No. Well, yeah, just more radio.
So that's where you should be looking.
No, it's dying.
So anyway, I got wonderful news. I got my new belt.
Wow.
It makes a lot of noise.
What do you mean it makes noise?
So I'm going to position the microphone near my waistline.
Okay. That is shockingly loud.
It's because it's
It's
quality.
making that it's because it's genuine leather.
Yeah, quality leather. Most people who get belts don't get good belts, and they don't know that this is the normal thing that happens when you get a good quality leather product. The shit you're buying is faux leather. Who knows what it's made out of? But it ain't leather. It ain't this.
No.
It ain't this.
That's the sound of luxury and quality.
It has to be broken in, so I don't know. You know, like a shoe, for example. You're walking on it. You're putting stress on it. You're stretching
it's
it.
moving.
I guess just by gaining weight, I can stretch this belt.
You could sit on the couch with it in your off time when you're not wearing the belt and just like oil it and wiggle it around like a snake.
Yeah, you can put shaving cream on it and rubber bands. It's like a baseball glove.
Yeah, get your dad to park the car on it. Oh, it gave me the creeps at the last second. Welcome to One Topic, where we stick to one topic. My name is Autumn Fisher.
My name is Greg Russ. The Canadian smoke has cleared. Well, I guess. I don't know. I look outside and it's still hazy, but I've enjoyed the days of smoke because it's an excuse not to go outside. And we've touched upon this before. Rainy days I love, an excuse not to go outside, also a reason for other people to stay inside. The orange smoke that came through that looked like a nuclear holocaust or Blade Runner 2049 or Mexico when you watch TV shows.
Yeah.
When they give it a tint of orange and when Russia is tinted blue.
How do they do that?
I mean, I can understand the fact that they're still doing it, I think, is stranger to me. I could understand early on. It's like, hey, how can we make this look more like Mexico where
Right, because we're in California.
yeah, we're shooting in this location, and also, you know, people think of Mexico and they think of warmth. So it's like, I don't know, let's make it like a little more orange and dirt's in the air, and maybe it's you know, who knows the amount of thought.
Like the dust is, tinted that color, and maybe in Russia it's cold, and so you think of it being blue.
Yeah, that's the idea. And Russian people are cold. Okay. The country itself is cold, like not just the temperature, but
right,
you know, a collective personality, which fair or not. But the fact that it's been pointed out a million times and people talk about it and producers, directors are still deciding to do it. I think that's what's weird.
Mm-hmm.
I'd say, let's just not do that because everyone else has done it.
Right. But then how will they know?
I mean,
the audience is stupid.
You have to admit it does give you a feeling of a location shift.
It does, sure. Well, and that's okay. Especially, so I'm thinking about Breaking Bad and when they would go, to that, Don whoever's house.
Yeah.
And I think that it was also tinted, but that might have also been to show time, right? Like this is in the past.
I would agree, but I think there were scenes in the present. When Jesse went down there, for example, that was in the present.
Oh, yeah.
Was that also orange? I guess that would be your answer.
No, I'm not sure, but I get it. I know what you're saying.
If it wasn't, then yeah, they were using it to also set apart time.
Mm-hmm.
Which I guess our memories are in orange, tinted.
Mine are.
Sepia.
Sepiaton. Sepiaton.
So that was pretty strange when it came rushing through the other day. It was
Yeah.
it was relatively. It shouldn't have been unexpected because it had been hazy and
Yes. It
sometimes.
had been hazy for a couple days before that. Because here in Maryland, I was saying, like, why is it so hazy? And I think I mentioned it to my mom, and she said, well, it's getting warmer. I was like, no, it's not hot enough for that. And then I looked it up, and I was like, oh my God, it has to do with these wildfires. She's like, cool, wild, that's weird. And then it really came through.
Blame Canada.
Like, oh my God.
There was a New York Post cover that said, blame Canada.
Oh.
And it showed a hazy lower Manhattan, a smoky lower Manhattan. Yeah, I heard, I mean, these are happening all over Canada, but in places where they don't normally have them, Nova Scotia, Quebec. I know it's I don't like saying it that way.
Quebec.
It just feels pretentious. I don't know why, because if it's the proper way to pronounce it, then why not pronounce it Quebec? But it's like, I don't know, I always say Quebec. It's like Nevada.
Or it's like croissant. When you say croissant. Am I really going to say croissant?
Yeah, that's more of a direct correlation because we're taking French.
Yeah, French.
And I wouldn't know. I would not say croissant.
Croissant.
No, I wouldn't know. No, I'm not doing it. If I were,
don't do it. I don't want you to do it.
If I were in France, but even then, it like I feel like I'm setting myself up to be laughed at. Like, you stupid, dumb American trying to say it.
No, that's fine. They're fine with it. It's more anybody. It's just like here. Anytime you try and speak our language, you're like, okay, we try and understand you. Well, some of us do. And it's like, oh yeah, good. And people don't say things exactly right, but you know what they're saying.
Not the French. They need to act like they're annoyed that you're there in the first place.
Well, the French will reply to you in English, even if you're speaking to them in French.
Yeah.
And they can tell that you're not French.
But it's degrading and demeaning. It's like, let me just speak in your language because you clearly can't speak in mine.
Right.
Whereas in Japan,
you say like, un croissant, you say, un croissant, s'il vous plaît. And they say, okay, one croissant for you and for your friend.
Idiot. Yeah. Whereas in Japan, you go and you try to speak Japanese and they try to speak English, but they're not so good. And then they apologize to you. And you're like, yes, this is the way it should be. I'm in your country. Yes. You should be speaking to me in my language. And the fact that you can't is reason for apology. So
don't you speak English?
Thank you,
person who I'm in the middle of Tokyo.
I actually hated that. It happened on several occasions. I was like, no, don't fucking apologize to me. I'm in your country.
But they love to apologize.
I know. They're carrying around this idea that they like, I'm sorry I let you down. Maybe I relate to that too much. It's like, it's a guy, but it's like, no, you didn't let me down. I let you down, but not properly learning enough of your language to effectively
communicate. So you have to say sorry too. They're like apologizing and bowing, and then you also apologize and bow.
Yeah.
Because also saying like, no, it's okay is also sort of accepting the apology. So if you also just continue to apologize, then you both are doing great.
And then you leave a big fat tip, which shames them.
Oh, and they say no.
It shames them.
No. Right.
No, I should be paid for the service that I give you by my employer. It's like, yes, that is the way it should be. You're correct. But I'm still going to give you this money. No, it's a dishonor. It's similar to, and I've brought this up before when I was in Germany and I went to visit family. So I left Munich and went to smaller towns. Mm-hmm. And on my drive, I had to stop and get gas, and I stopped at
petrol.
Yes, in liters, not in gallons.
Cool.
And I stopped, and as I'm filling up the car, I'm thinking, all right, here's how I say the pump number in German so I can go in, because I couldn't use my card there. They didn't have that capability at this gas station. So I had to pay inside. And it's like, all right, I'm practicing. And I went in, I just went blank. The pressure got to me. I couldn't say the phrase. And then I meant to ask them if they spoke English. But I said, do you speak German? No. I was trying. I think what happens, I caught myself in the middle instead of saying sprechen Sie English? And they could have said yes or no, whatever. I started saying sprechen Sie
Sprechen Sie
Deutsch.
Deutsch? No.
And then I was like, oh no, I'm asking if they speak
Nine.
German. And then I was trying to say that I don't, but I could only say no. So yeah, I said 9. But then it seems like the person took it as, you speak German? No, don't do that, because she apologized in English. She said, I'm sorry.
Maybe that's all she knew.
Maybe. But I hated that. I drove the additional 2.5 hours back just fucking berating myself. You fucking idiot. You goddamn moron piece of shit. And I went on and on. Because I do think that you should try to speak a different language when you're in a different country.
Absolutely.
So anyway, the wildfires in Quebec. I heard in Nova Scotia, it was like one of them was started by a man burning garbage.
I heard that too. Was he burning garbage to keep the polar bears away or something?
Well, if it's Nova Scotia, no, and that's not that far north.
No. Well, I mean, you know what I mean? Like, why was he burning his garbage?
Some people just burn their garbage. I don't. Why do like
they do?
I see garbage thrown on the side of the road. We were driving back last night from like a friend's, and there were just garbage bags on the side of the road. Christine's like, "Why is there just garbage here?" It's like, I think people just dump it.
Damn.
And it does seem like it seems like more work. I was like, yeah, but you're right. But who knows what's in there? Maybe it's hard for them to dispose of properly. Like if it's something that needs,
put it to the side of the road.
Yeah, if it's something that needs special disposal, and you're like, fuck this, I don't want to deal with this, and you just leave it, so it can't be traced back to you. So who knows? Someone's got a bunch of garbage. Like, I'm gonna burn it. Now here we are.
Weird.
Some of the garbage from New York does go to an incinerator that apparently creates energy. I think the fire boils water, and then that creates steam and turns a generator or something like that.
Okay. That's good.
It's better than landfills, right?
Sure. Well, maybe, because landfills are actually kind of smart. If you don't, they don't just bury it in the ground and say, like, see ya. They have like pipes that go through all the different levels, and then they excavate it and like till it to bring up, you know what I mean? To bring up like what was down below that might have been not disintegrated, reabsorbed. What's it called?
I don't know what you're trying to talk about.
Well, you know, if you have a compost and you put an eggshell in it, it decomposes. Okay, so like all the stuff that has decomposed, they till it back up so that it's back into as much dirt, I guess, natural sort of earth that they can make it that's made out of garbage.
I know, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I know there's a decent amount of work that goes into it. It still feels like there's just so much fucking garbage.
Mm-hmm. There really is.
You look at things that are wasteful, getting mochi ice cream from Trader Joe's. It's like it comes in a box, okay, and then inside that box, each one was individually wrapped in plastic. Mm-hmm. And it used to come in a plastic tray. And the truth is, maybe the plastic tray was more plastic. So that could have been more waste. But it also feels like that kind of plastic. Again, I know recycling is a scam for the most part. Like even here in New York, it's like, no, you put the recycling, you get fined if you don't sort it correctly. And they say they take it. But it's still, if you actually trace where it goes, like maybe New York does its part, but whatever the next step is or somewhere along the way, just like, nah, just fucking throw that shit away. Like it doesn't get recycled. Like 30% gets recycled. So, this plastic tray that used to hold the mochi, that had the recycling thing on it. And it's like, oh, you can cycle this. But that thin, flimsy plastic, that can't be recycled, right?
I don't know what can be recycled and what can't. I don't really recycle. If I have boxes and stuff, I'll collect some of them. If I know I have a couple boxes, and I'll put it in the recycling. But like if I have people over and they put I just put them in the trash, cans in the trash. Bye.
Well, that's on your complex. There's no recycling there?
No, there is. But I don't have a separate bin for them. I'd have to have a separate bin and then take that bin down the parking lot to where the recycling bins are. And I don't trust the process really. I don't trust that it's really happening.
So that's the reason?
I've seen too many times, not here necessarily. Actually, I don't know. I've never noticed a recycling truck specifically getting those bins. I've seen the dump truck come for the dumpster, 100 times. But and then when I lived in Atlanta, we paid for recycling for a little bit in our apartment complex when we lived in Midtown, and the dump truck would come and get the dumpster, and then they would grab the recycling thing, just dump it all in the same thing. So, and I think our landlord called a bunch of times about it, asking them to not do that, and they just never stopped. So,
which is fair. I understand, because if you don't believe the process is real, why participate? But if it's not so out of your way, like for me, it's like, okay, I'm going to the same trash can outside right next to it's a recycling. It's not difficult for me to, and the truth is most cans and bottles are collected by someone else anyway, who then returns them for 5 cents a piece, which,
New York, especially,
which at that point, I don't know what the process is. That I assume is for recycling too. And that's what's supposed to pay for the recycling, that the 5 cent deposit that you pay when you buy the bottle or the can, you're paying an additional 5 cents because they want you to recycle that. And I guess it's actually, I'm stopping what I'm saying because I was like, that would fund the recycling, but if you return it, you get your 5 cent deposit back. So therefore that wouldn't, like, obviously a lot of people aren't returning it. So that money is going somewhere. I doubt it's to the recycling process, but in theory,
who gives out the money, and who gets the money to give out?
The store, like of a grocery store, the Key Foods will give the money, and I guess they get reimbursed somehow. You collect the receipt, but it is strange. So they want you to recycle, so they charge you 5 extra cents, probably knowing that most people aren't going to return for the 5 cents, so they can keep that money. But the idea is, no, we want you to recycle, so that's the incentive to do it.
Well, you can still recycle, but not give the 5 cent, not get the 5 cents from it.
Yeah, it's a flawed system overall. But what happens is there's people who collect everything out of your trash can. Like sometimes you put it out there and 30 minutes later it's gone. And they've rifled through it, and anything that's not a can or a bottle is left. And they take that and they walk around with their giant
I've seen them
carts of
or like
cans.
with 2 gigantic bags of cans on their backs.
Yeah, with like a stick in between.
Yeah. They look like they're in rural China or something.
It's a lot of fucking work. It's like, all right, you're getting 5 cents, but you have to turn in at that point, what, 20 cans?
Well, let's say if it's $100.
Yeah, so 20 cans per dollar. 20 cans per dollar. Yeah, 200 cans.
2,000 cans. 100 divided by 5 cents.
It's a lot of fucking work.
A lot of cans. But I guess if you don't speak English and you've worked in radio for 10 years and you don't have any skills that translate, then you just start collecting cans.
That's what you should be doing. Is there even a can deposit in Maryland?
I don't know. There's a dump near me. But I don't know. I guess I could be making some sense by collecting cans, just even my own cans. But I don't really even use a lot of cans. So I'd have to buy cans purposefully. Oh, I could collect them from my own recycling bins. Okay.
Yeah, but again, is Maryland one of the states that even charges? Because there's only a few states that do it, and then I feel like Michigan's 10 cents. That's where you really want to be if you're in the can collecting business.
Ooh, yeah.
Then you only need 10 cans per dollar instead of 20. States with.
Well, I looked up Maryland 5 cent can, and then from 2013, a bottle deposit will damage business, destroy valuable Maryland jobs, upend current curbside recycling programs, increase prices to customers. So I think they don't want it. They didn't want it. Don't throw away your unwanted aluminum cans. Turn your aluminum products into cash at the Mid-Atlantic Recycling Center. Oh, that's in Annapolis. So yeah, I could take it to Annapolis.
What are they offering?
Find out.
And you go there and we also need copper and we need the earth minerals. So start stealing catalytic converters.
Oh, okay.
That's how they get you in. It's a legal front at first. You're like, yeah, I'm just returning aluminum cans. Like, great. Hey, by the way, we also need these items if you know of any construction sites. Hint, hint.
Yeah.
Go rip out the copper
It
wiring.
says aluminum cans, aluminum casts, aluminum extrusions, aluminum siding, frames of aluminum lawn furniture. It doesn't say how much you can get. It just says on the spot cash for your aluminum scrap.
Market price. That way they can fuck you. Anytime I go to a restaurant that's got market price listed on the menu, I'm like, nope, I'm not doing it because that feels very arbitrary to me.
If somebody else is paying, I would do it. Somebody else that I didn't really care about. Like, yeah, you pay. You're paying this market price.
Yeah, it's like, do you have a listing of the market price? Can I see that? The official guide for the market price?
You can ask what it is when you sit down.
Yeah, but at that point, are they just making it up, or is it really aligned with the market? I don't think it's aligned with the market. I think they say, today we've decided to charge you $80 for the lobster.
Well, if you don't ask, and then you can afford it. If you have to ask, you can't afford it. Visit us today for the best prices. It doesn't say how much.
All right, we'll do some research, figure it out, steal your neighbor's aluminum lawn chair.
Just climb up on their porches.
Yeah. The lawn chair thief strikes again.
I have been just casually dumpster diving at the CVS near my house.
Do you make special trips for that? Or you
sometimes like on the way home because it's usually on my way home. I'll just I'm going to pull into the CVS and see if they have any trash. I glance in.
They fucking need to give you a full-time salary. This is insane. Listen,
I'm not doing it to survive. I'm just doing it so hey, I found some sunscreen in there today that was expensive.
If you were rich, would you still do this?
I don't think so.
Okay, so that's all I needed to hear. If you said yes, I'd say okay. It's a weird thing that.
But I can't know because I might just to see what I could get just for fun, because treasure. One time I went and there were so many things. I got so many things. I got a gigantic bottle of lotion, like body lotion. I got a really expensive face cream. I got this thing called Blue Emu. I got 2 tubs of that, and that's for joint pain and stuff. I gave one to my parents. I got some Icy Hot. I got.
How deep are you digging for this?
It was right on the top. I didn't have to hardly dig. This one today, I got these 2 sunscreens that were really good, but those were sitting at the bottom, and I did have to lean over and get them. And they're a little dirty.
At least do yourself a favor and get one of those sticks with a claw.
I know. That's what I wished I had, but then I was like, well, just lean over. I should bring gloves too.
If you're going to dig around
but
dumpsters.
I'm not climbing in. You know what I mean? I'm not I'm just looking.
Look, I know there are people.
I might grab a bag or 2 and scoot things around just to see if there's anything, and then I'll go.
Why don't you go to the grocery store at that point and get all your groceries for free?
I wish, but those grocery stores and Targets and places like Ulta and stuff, they have, well, maybe not Ulta, I'm not sure, but they grocery stores especially, because they sell their unused produce and expired whatevers, and sell them to pig farmers, and they grind everything up, including the bags of plastic around bread and stuff that's old. They grind all that up and use it for pig feed, which is disgusting and terrible, and we shouldn't be eating that. But they have it in a special dumpster that is enclosed into the building, so you can't dumpster dive for groceries anymore.
I'm trying to look up the pig feed plastic thing. It says pig feed plastics claim went viral, but does the public have to worry? Scientifically, there is no issue. Plastic and pig.
Oh, who wrote this article? The Pig Farmer Association of America.
The Fay Observer.
Fay.
Oh, it's the Fayetteville Observer. But their URL's the Fay Observer. TikToker exposes truth behind garbage feeding.
Mm-hmm. He got fired. He showed the entire process for weeks.
Yeah, I'm seeing a thumbnail clip of it now. I don't have time to watch the whole thing because we're obviously doing a show. I mean, look, I wouldn't put it past people.
Absolutely.
I do think that more research always needs to be done. Someone posts this, and even if they're not lying, is it a
I
practice?
saw it in real time. I saw it as it was happening.
Yeah, but is this a practice limited to that place, and maybe they're skirting
True.
the law? But again, I also wouldn't put it past anyone, and if that's
I
the
wouldn't
standard
either.
practice, it wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah, these factories would have to employ someone to just plastic bags around bread and products and stuff, and they probably don't want to hire a person to do that.
Well, even just going back to
So-
recycling for a second, with the bottles, like 20-ounce bottles, the two different types of plastic, the bottle itself and then the cap and the little ring. Like apparently the cap can't be recycled.
Well, that's why they've made it so small now.
But
Have you noticed how small those caps are now?
you can separate the cap, and that's fine, and then recycle but the plastic ring is stuck on there. Or you can pry it off. So what the fuck's happening then? Like, well, we can't recycle that part. It's another reason I feel like it doesn't really happen.
Right. So someone's on that sorting line, and every plastic bottle that comes through with the ring on is thrown away.
Yeah, throw into the ocean.
I don't know if that's true or not, but
Somehow.
it seems like nowadays they when did you find that out recently that they can't recycle the cap and the ring?
I was reading about it because they were asking to not throw the caps away with the bottles. So I was like, what about the ring? What happens to the ring? And I couldn't really find a clear answer.
Yeah.
A lot
again,
of this,
like you said, I'm surprised.
a lot of it used to go to China, and then like China is like, we don't want this anymore.
What did they do with it?
Even think about that. Just getting your plastic to China. That's quite the undertaking.
Absolutely. Okay, so then you think you're doing something good by recycling when all you're really doing is so there's first of all there's a bunch of employees that have to work, right? They all drive their gas cars to get to wherever they're working, and then trucks to get all of those recyclables, and then the machines to help you sort them all are using all this power, all of this like oil, gas, whatever. And then you have like cargo ships traveling the oceans to get to China to deliver plastic that's recycled.
Yeah, it's
like,
insane.
How much are we really saving?
Take
What's
it to
really
the
happening?
incinerator. I like the incinerator. I don't care
But
about.
then it gets into the atmosphere.
And you can put a scrubber in there. You can do something to minimize it.
A filter.
Burn it all. I don't like the fact that it keeps piling up. That really unsettles me.
It is. Yeah. It's.
Like there's just more and more and more and more, and that's why landfills.
Well, is it being turned into clothing? Because so much of our clothing is plastic.
Oh yeah,
which is also another problem because there are so many disposable brands like Old Navy and Target and all these places, and their clothes are made of plastic and they don't last very long, and people, don't donate them and just throw them away because they don't last. Maybe they have like holes immediately, or maybe they're just like crappy or whatever. And then that's also plastic. That's getting fucked up in the ground.
I started buying nicer clothes, not necessarily for that reason. It makes me feel good to say that that's part of the reason, but there's
it's an added benefit.
Well, I mean, there's just something when something costs more, and you do have to be careful because some things just cost more because somehow the brand. I'm not talking about designer brands even, but sometimes a brand that most people don't know, but they trump themselves up like, ooh, we're really. It's like no, but like you can tell stitching on certain things, fabrics. Sure. It's like, well, this is much better, and is it worth the extra $100? That's someone else's choice to make, but it will last a lot longer. Like I bought this light jacket. It's not heavy, but it's like a fall time thing, and I paid $300 for it. But comparing it to like the shitty ones that I used to buy before, that would like the seams would rip, and I would have to sew them back up myself, and holes would form just in the material, like on elbows and stuff. It's like, how's this even happening? I'm not even doing anything that creates friction on the elbow except by just bending my arm. So this thing will last much longer. Even like boots. Like you can buy boots where the sole can't be replaced, which whatever, that's a separate argument anyway, where is replacing the sole worth it because it's pretty fucking expensive to do.
Right.
But I think, looking at
if you're thinking about consuming items, it's like, well, you could either pay a very similar amount to a brand new boot by resoling it, then at least you're not creating waste. You're resoling your shoe.
And it's also broken in at that point.
Yeah.
Because these fucking boots that I have, they fucking hurt for the first few months, which is pretty ridiculous. It's like, I'm going to buy this thing.
How do you do that in New York?
You just walk. And it's like you get.
I know, but if it hurts so much, don't you like hate it?
Yeah, I mean, there was certainly a time I wore them and I had fucking blisters, and I'm not wearing those again. And I didn't wear them for a while, but then at some point, it's found myself. I also put on better socks. I think the next time, thicker socks.
Right.
And then once they're broken in, it's nice. Leather. Going back to the
Leather.
belt, which that in itself, I mean, some people are.
Let's hear the belt.
Some people are cursing us now. Make me stand up. It's a fucking bulky belt. My God, it's thick. It's something else.
My God, it's thick.
Yeah. 100-year guarantee, though.
Woo!
100-year warranty. So, yeah, I'll pay
You're gonna
70.
have that belt for 100 years.
I'll pay $70. It's actually 50 because there was a Father's Day sale, which just goes to show the prices are bullshit anyway. That was another thing I just read that I like all of this has come out of smoke and orange air. But there was something else I read. It's like, supply chains aren't as stressed as they once were. Inflation has stagnated a bit, but prices don't come down. And it's just greed. It's just companies, restaurants saying, people are still paying it. So no need. That's why going back to the market price thing,
right? I
don't trust it. Like, well, you know what? Let's just make our money. Let's make a lot of money right now. And it won't go down.
It kind of makes sense, though. If something is expensive and the price changes based on, how available it is.
Sure. Yeah, in those instances. But what has happened is we're past some of that.
Right.
And they could lower their prices, but they're choosing not to because they want to keep making money, which, fine, that's the point of a business, right? They have no obligation. I think what angers me the most is there's still people willing to pay these higher prices because nothing is going to change until people stop paying the higher prices. And that's why I feel like there's no turning back. You would think that somebody somewhere, like enough people, like I'm done paying these high prices. We're not using this item anymore. It's not essential until, it makes sense again. But everyone seemingly has enough fucking disposable income. Like, okay, I'm just going to continue to pay the higher prices.
Well, it's kind of like me where I have tightened my belt, but I still want to buy things. I still want to do things. So sometimes I do buy something maybe I shouldn't.
We should all just go on a strike and not buy anything. I was going to say everything, but anything. Either works, I guess. We're such slaves to not just a lifestyle. Hold on. You can't use that word anymore.
What?
Slaves. Even though you're not saying it you just can't use it anymore, Autumn.
Is that true?
Yeah, then remember they changed the guy's ship in one of those Star Wars stories. Boba
Slave
Fett.
Ship 1?
Yeah, it's not that anymore. It's like Sunshine 2 or something. They changed it. What did they change it to?
Wow. But no. Okay.
I'm sorry to throw you off.
Slavery was not invented during the Civil War.
I understand that, but we're in a time and place in our society where it's like, just don't say that word.
Well, we're so beholden to either our lifestyles or just the status quo. This is how we get our food. We go to the grocery store and we get food. How do we get to the grocery store? Well, our cities aren't walkable, so we get in our car. Well, how do we run our car? Well, we use gas because that's the only option that you got. Even if you don't use gas, you still have to plug your shit in. And how does that plug get energy? So it's so
they
hard.
Got you. They got you. They won.
Yeah, it's so hard to do anything differently. So
you have to dumpster dive.
Yep. So you find
in order to survive.
Yeah. Dumpster diving.
The ship. I wasn't too far off. It's called the Fire Spray.
That is so stupid.
Which basically is, you could say that sunshine is fire spray. Couldn't you? There's an argument there to be made.
Something.
It's fire spray. Close. I could make it work.
Absolutely. Listen, I got it. If I squint, I can see the connection.
Unbelievable. Not that it matters because who gives a shit about Boba Fett? Did anyone like that show?
Yes, people really liked that show.
No, they liked it at the end when Gorgok showed up again.
Grogu?
Yes, Grogu.
No, they liked it even in the first season because it was like a Western and it took its time and it wasn't so fan servicey.
What are you talking
like
about?
All the other Star Wars things.
Boba Fett? I think the Mandalorian people like.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm talking about Boba Fett.
I forgot that those were not the same thing. Because isn't the Mandalorian a Boba Fett? Or Boba Fett is a Mandalorian?
I thought he just stole the armor and he doesn't really deserve it.
Oh, I don't remember anymore. I don't know. But okay, you're right. So I'm sorry. I was thinking of Mandalorian.
Which I guess there's a new season and watched a few episodes, whatever. The fact that Grogu, without Grogu, the people don't care about this shit. They got themselves in a spot. Like, because at some point Luke Skywalker came and kidnapped Grogu. Didn't really kidnap him, but took him. And said, you know what, my responsibility now. You're like, okay, great. So Grogu's gone. And then these shows are fucking failing after that. Like, what can we do? It's like, well, bring back Grogu.
He's so cute. The child.
And now somehow, a Mandalorian, and maybe I should have watched them all, and I would have known how. He's back. I thought the whole thing was Mandalorian's like, I don't want this thing anymore. I know he grew to love it, but he also was like, I got to get rid of it so I can live my life. And now it's back.
Grogu.
And it just makes normal baby sounds sometimes. Sometimes it makes different noises, and other times it's just cooing like a human baby.
We have a Grogu, one of those ones that I think Pete got for Christmas one year.
Look, it's cute. I'm not gonna.
It is cute.
Good for them. They created this thing that everybody adores.
It's got those Disney eyes, gigantic, big, cute little eyes.
They love the Grogu, even though my nephew likes Grogu, but refused once the name came out. He hated it. He
really?
Still calls it Baby Yoda, and if you say Grogu, he gets angry. It's like, sorry, that's its name.
I get it. It's a bad name.
It's close to my name.
No, it's too much like gross.
Grogu.
Grogu. And then goo. Goo.
Grogu.
Grogu. Grogu.
So the fires, once it turned, it came out of nowhere. It really was like, oh, it's a normal. What the fuck? This place looks like it's on fire.
That orange, that's wild.
You could taste it. You could
really
taste the smoke. Yes, and the sky turned orange. It was hard to take pictures of it because the white balance at least on the iPhone, is so good. It can tell. It's like no, and it would auto correct it.
Wow.
So you had to hold up like a white sheet of paper in front of it, and then it could capture the orange, and you had to pull the paper out. But yeah, it was
fast enough.
It was very tinted and strange, and then there was backlash, and the city didn't do enough to warn us. Oh my! I understand. There's this whole kick that people are. The whole thing turned into what's the word I'm looking for? I don't know. I keep wanting to say, what's the best way I can phrase this? This is a very simple word. Conflict. I couldn't think of the word conflict. Competition kept popping into my head for whatever reason.
Okay. And then it blocked conflict.
Yeah, it completely blocked it. But that's
what happens to me.
The whole thing turned into conflict. It's like suddenly it's like the mayor and the city didn't do enough to prepare us. Shame on them. And then like other people within the city council, which city council are the most worthless pieces of shit ever. There's very few people that even understand the city council, and they're just everyday idiots. And I'm not saying that the professional politicians are better. I guess what I'm saying is they all fucking suck. But it's like, I'm the guy in the neighborhood that yells at you when you don't rake your leaves, and now I'm going to go into city council and set the laws. And the elections happen, but nobody fucking pays attention. And you look at a ballot, like, I don't know who any of these fucking people are, so I'll just randomly pick one. So these people are like whiners and complainers. They're like me when I reported the car parked in front of the fire hydrant, except all times. And again, the reason I did that was because I was parked next to the fire hydrant. I was excited that nobody would be parking near me. And when I saw a car parked near me, it wasn't so much they were blocking a hydrant that bothered me. It was that that's why I was just as selfish. It's like, how dare you? I was excited. My car wasn't going to get smashed up on the street because I was near a hydrant and nobody should be parking there, and you did. So that's
how do you reconcile that how do you reconcile that with yourself?
What? That I got him a ticket? I feel good.
Yeah, but that you're just as bad as the people that you're complaining about.
Nah. Because the way my admission is, I did it for very selfish reasons. If that wasn't
as long as you're honest about it, then it's okay.
I was being an asshole too. Whatever. Like to me, it's a person who insulted me, and I got him back. That's the way I reconcile it. Like if I was walking the street and I saw the car blocking a hydrant and my car was nowhere around, it's like, whatever, asshole. But I wouldn't care enough to do anything about it.
Okay.
But with this one, it's like, oh, how dare you? How fucking dare you park near me illegally? I parked here and I worked for this spot by sitting in the car for an hour and a half so nobody would park near me because that's a hydrant and you're not supposed to park in front of it. So fuck you. That's how I reconcile it. I'm not walking around tattletaling on everyone. But anyway, these people's like, oh, the mayor, which whatever, our mayor's an idiot. He's a grandstanding wannabe celebrity who's like, look at me, I'm mayor of New York City. Yeah, fuck you. You don't even fucking care about the job.
Holy shit. Okay.
But then these people start putting their little tweets out. A complete and utter failure. We should be ashamed. The mayor's office should be ashamed because they didn't tell us early enough that the smoke was coming. And they didn't. It's like, whatever. I saw the smoke. I was like, whoa, this is crazy. I didn't think it was the fucking city's responsibility to tell me to do a thing. And
even if they did know, what are they supposed to say? Hey, it's going to be smoky, so...
Well, they should give us better guidance and tell us that it's imperative we wear masks, because that's the other point of conflict.
Well, how about you look outside and you say, do I want to wear a mask out in this shit? Yeah, I do. All right, so go do that. Why are people relying on a government to tell them what to do? What should I do? Should I wear a mask? It's smoky. I don't know what to do.
Oh, then this turned into the other. This turned into the other fight online. On one of these articles I was reading, people started arguing about wearing a mask, and someone's like watching people walk around without a mask, and then someone else like, who cares? Who gives a
mask or not when it's smoky out?
And then they say, the person says, what do you care? This has nothing to do with you. It doesn't affect you. And then they come back. The other person said, matter of fact, it does affect me, because when people don't go out with a mask on in these conditions and they breathe in this smoke, it's going to cause health problems, which then causes a strain on the public health system and causes insurance premiums to increase.
No. Oh my God. So then they should be mad at anyone they see that smokes.
It's so pathetic.
Or vape.
I'm sure that they are.
Or it's like eating a pizza that's overweight.
I'm sure.
Whatever.
I am sure that they are. These people want to police everything. It's like, I know that I get angry, but usually I get angry at things where someone's doing something inconsiderate that directly in the moment makes other people's lives less enjoyable. Like that's what drives me. It's like, what the fuck? Why do you think that you're special and different, that you can just act in a wholly inappropriate way? That's when I get riled up. But to me, I see everyone's like, I don't give a shit. Don't wear your mask. The truth is, I don't want to wear a mask either, and I'm not going to wear a mask, and I'll breathe in the smoke, and that's why I can taste it, I guess. And maybe I should have worn a mask in that instance because it was so smoky. And if
okay, maybe, but it's nobody else's business.
Exactly, it's not. But these are the people who make up city council, and these are the people who want to pretend they're city council when they're not. And
and if people don't complain, then maybe they just don't have any direction, you know?
I just felt like
to complain.
I feel like New York was a city, and maybe there's so many people, it's always been like that, but it feels like there's an influx of suburban people, part of the homeowners association. It's like, we don't like the way you're mowing your lawn, and we're going to fine you. What the fuck is up with that anyway? I understand the homeowners association.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Homeowners association.
Oh, just homeowners, just in general.
The association. Sometimes you buy a house, let's say in a neighborhood in the suburbs, and there's an association. You pay your fucking dues.
I thought you meant specifically in New York something was going on with the homeowners association.
No, it's what it feels like. The people from those homeowners associations in the suburbs have moved here and suddenly have a lot of shit to say. And I get why homeowners associations exist. They want to upkeep the neighborhood so everyone's property and value increases, and you're, not stuck next to a house that is falling apart and you're like, I can't fucking sell my house now because of these people. But what gives them the fucking authority for anything? Like, if a homeowners association fined me, I'd be like, fuck you. Good luck.
What happens if you don't pay it?
Yeah, are there legal repercussions? I don't think so.
There can't be, because you've purchased the house. That's between you and the bank. The bank's not going to be like, oh yeah, we'll kick them out because they didn't pay something on their homeowners association fine because they painted their door blue.
Looks like they could sue you if legally allowed. So I don't know if you sign something at some point. They may even have the right to garnish your fucking wages. My God. What a fucking power trip. And the person who's the head of it, I'm sure, loves themselves.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people like that. There's so many people around. Like, what the fuck do you care if it's not affecting you directly?
Quietly judge. Go ahead. Quietly judge. And then move on.
And I understand it's not all black and white. Like I'm saying, if it's not affecting you directly, if you're living next to someone who doesn't take care of their house and there's weeds and the house is falling apart, sure, that can affect you directly.
Yeah.
In many ways. But I think the power trip that often comes along with this is really what I just can't grasp it. Like, who the fuck do you think you are? It was like those parking lots. It's like, this is a private lot. And if you didn't remember, you used to have to shove the cash into like a small slot.
Uh-huh.
And I remember I got a ticket once across the street from the 96 Rock building.
Mm-hmm.
And I wrote a note and it's like, you don't have the legal authority to fucking fine me or do anything. You could have booted me because it was private, but you didn't. And you put a fine, like a fake ticket on my window. Like, I'm not paying this. I'm not fucking paying this. You had your chance by towing or booting me and you didn't do it.
I remember I got some tickets at Gwinnett Tech when I was trying to get my associate's degree there in like 2000. And I got a bunch of tickets in the parking lot there and I just never paid them.
Yeah. Why?
I'm not paying them.
And what happened? Nothing.
Nothing.
And again, that could be argued. It's like, with who the fuck did I think I was to feel like I didn't need to pay? Why was I above it?
Sure. Yeah.
I was broke at the time. That's the reason. It's like, I'm not paying to park here.
I just didn't want to go through the rigmarole of going to find the office where you have to like get the pass and then you have to pay something for it. I'm like, I'm not doing that. I'm just going to keep parking here and see what happens. I got some tickets.
I can't believe these people didn't wear their masks.
Oh, actually, it does affect me directly.
And then they were trying to make points like, being outside is like smoking 6 cigarettes. And then it kept,
shut up.
It was like, yeah.
No, it's not.
Also, it was like all day or something like that. It's like, who cares?
If you're outside all day. Okay, maybe.
It's like, who cares? You didn't protect me from the scary smoke. Then you should have stayed inside. That's
You have eyes, right? You can see that it looks weird out. If you're concerned, stay inside. Or get a rag over your mouth.
People did eventually go inside, and then they canceled the Yankees game.
Right.
They shut down all outside activities. It was nice. It was a nice day.
You liked it. I was door dashing when it was smoky out, and I was waiting for this Dunkin' Donuts order, and the workers were talking, and this real like doofy looking guy was like, "The air quality's at 200. It's at 200 today. Did you know that?
Yeah, probably.
It's at 200." And I just kept thinking, like, I don't know what that means, and neither does this guy.
Well, he probably the first time he heard it.
Yeah, he heard it, and it was said to him in a way that, like, that's bad. So he's like, "Did you know it's at 200?
Yeah, I had no clue what the air quality index meant before this past week either. I looked it up. I was like, oh, okay, 200 is really not good. I mean, we're below 200, high 100 is not good either. But sure, fine. Interesting. But he really latched
But then
on.
again, I also have eyes. Like I can probably guess like, probably not so great out. This air does not look quality to me. If it was invisible, then yeah, maybe someone should give us some warnings about like, yo, it looks really pleasant outside, but there's this invisible gas that could make you have asthma. You know? And you're like, hey, you probably should have told me because there's no way for me to know that because I don't have an air quality metrometer to figure that out. But in this case, it was orange outside your door. So yeah, air is probably not so good. You don't need the government to tell you that.
I'm sick of people in general because then also tied to this, I was reading a thread on Reddit and someone's like, oh, if it rains, it'll be good because it'll wash away a lot of the smoke. And then someone else asking a question. It was a legitimate question. Wouldn't that cause acid rain? Which I guess you could say is a dumb question. But the person wasn't like coming in like, oh, you fucking idiot. If it rained, it'd be acid rain. They were just asking a legitimate question. You know, the acid rain comes from other pollutants in the air. It's not smoke.
Sure.
And
particles like that.
Somebody gives like a real response, but then like the rest of the responses are berating the person and they're downvoted to hell. And I was like, no wonder people just lie and pretend they know things. It's like, hey, have you seen that movie? It's like, yeah, I have. And then you hope that they don't ask specifics about it. Because we live in this society where it's if you say no to something, you admit you don't know something. It's like, you fucking idiot. What a fucking loser you are. It seems to be the go-to response. I just couldn't believe. It's like, okay, yeah, kind of a dumb question, sure. But if someone doesn't really know about acid rain and is expressing a curiosity to learn, why don't you just take that as an opportunity to fill them in on the truth instead of making them feel bad?
Yeah, it could have been a young person too.
I got downvoted too because I read a response kind of calling that out.
Oh, and you got downvoted?
Reddit's dumb. Reddit's fucking stupid.
It can be so good though. It can be so good for like actual like practical advice.
Yeah, but you go on there, they're dumb. Like you make any valid point sometimes. It's a hive mind. It's like, well, if it's going against the initial stance made in a thread that everyone else has decided is the proper stance, then don't even press your luck. Don't even go against it, even if it's a logical argument. It's very telling.
I don't think I'm looking at those threads. I'm looking at like, I don't know. What's this?
Am I the asshole? That's what you're...
Am I the asshole? Yeah. I'm constantly taking pictures of how I'm parking. Is this okay? Am I the asshole?
People like that one. That's a good subreddit.
Yeah.
Tell stories. And then, am I the asshole? Yes, you are.
Woo! Well, I'm shocked and very happy with our topic this week because we did not know what we were going to talk about, and we felt both that we're not going to be able to talk about anything. So we did a really good job.
You didn't need to reveal that much.
Well, I did. Thank you, everybody. Like and subscribe, rate and review. Tell your friends. Use our code OneTopic15 at hoffandpepper.com for some locally made in Chattanooga hot sauce. That's really awesome. So go check it out. Talk to you later.
They're so rich. They're traveling the world now.
Woo!
Thanks to your promotion.
It's me.